Hi guys, and welcome back to my channel. Today we're gonna continue with the Lenten veil project that I started last week. Last week was a bit of a mess. Verschlimmbessern is the German word for that. So we tried to make it better, but made it worse instead. So we have an actual verb for that. Anyways, if you haven't watched that already, make sure to check it out after you're done watching this video. So I have this big Lenten veil right here. Let me just get you the top-down view as well. It's really, really big. It's very pretty. Lots of different colors, a big design, and I'm gonna make a high and low skirt out of it. Last week I was trying out a pattern for a dress with a knit top and a first bubble skirt, but then high and low skirt, and it just would not work out. So I contemplated and I just said to myself, come on, it's better to do a skirt and a top separately, because then it's also probably a bit more useful to you guys. There were so many of you guys who were interested in just the skirt, so I figured it's just the best option to make a separate skirt pattern and then do a top pattern and whatever else I'm gonna do. So today we're gonna work on the skirt. I already prepped my pattern, and it's a big pattern that I actually cut at the side seam, which is a thing that I did for printing issues, or like for making it better to print. But obviously it's the best if you just don't have a side seam whatsoever. So there is just the option for you guys to tape it together at the side seam, or not even cut it in half if you do the A0 print. As I said, it's a big pattern, and that is the thing with the side seam that I was talking about. You can just glue it together, tape it together right here, and then you have one big pattern piece, and that's also how I'm going to use this. So I have my Lenten veil ready to go right here on my table, and I don't really have too many options how to lay everything out. So basically what I have to do is put it like this. I have my fold line right here, and I have my pattern that has to lay on fold right here at the center front. Here is gonna be the zipper, but you're just gonna cut it open for the back, as this will be too big for your waist and you have to gather it to fit. So it's no problem if you also put the back on fold and then just cut it in half. I think I'm just gonna cut it out right here, and I'll be back in a second. These Lenten veils were actually gifted to Tanja at Hana Kreativ, who started this collaboration with lots of talented German content creators. I'll link all of them down below. And they were gifted by Misereor, a non-profit organization that aims to help people worldwide. So thank you so much to everybody involved. I'll put the link to Misereor's website down below as well. So maybe you want to donate or just have a look around and check out what they do. So the first thing that we're gonna do is prep our waistband. Now I ironed interfacing onto my waistband already, and then I just ironed it in half, and the side that I want to have on the inside, I ironed the seam allowance towards the inside as well. So I have this waistband now prepped, and with that prepped we can already go ahead and gather our skirt. And this now is a very big piece. I managed to cut everything out of one piece. I have the center back that has a seam where the zipper is gonna sit, and the center front lays on fold. And I'm gonna go ahead and gather the waist seam to fit the waistband. This currently is probably like double or 2/3 bigger than the waistband, so I'm gonna gather it down to fit. As you can see, while I was sewing, I actually marked my side seam and front with needles, so that once everything is gathered and I don't really see my notches anymore, I still know these spots basically. So now I'm just gonna take my 2 bobbin threads and pull. And I want to be extra careful with my special fabric, because you can see the threads of the weave are very thick, so the weave itself is very big, and therefore it really frays just like that. If you have that issue, maybe overlocking around the waistline here would have helped. And that's already enough. I'm just gonna knot this off, and then I can even out all of my gathers so that everything looks nice and neat. And what I basically want to do, I also added the notches to my waistband as well. So I basically want to match up the notches in my waistband with the ones in my skirt. So that's determining where you put the gathers, but there shouldn't be too many gathers to begin with. It's just a very light gather. And you want to put your waistband onto the right side of your fabric. Usually I would put it on the wrong side, and as you can see here, I also did it on the wrong side. I put it onto the wrong side. That is my mistake. I am actually realizing that later on, so don't do as I do as I say, and put the waistband right sides together with the right side of your skirt. If you don't do it that way, if you do it as I am showing you right now, you're essentially not going to be able to put the zipper in correctly, so you want to do it that way. So like that. You might want to regather a tiny bit, or not if you already gathered enough. I'm just going to do that under the sewing machine, and I'm also going to pin the in-between down. It's just easier for me while sewing. Okay, and now I'm just going to sew along the waistline. I want to lightly steam my seam allowance up into the waistband. I don't want to press it because I don't want to flatten out the folds. So I'm just going to have my iron angled and let the steam do its work. And as you can see, I went ahead and overlocked the center back because it was just fraying way too much, and I'm essentially losing my pattern piece, and it's just gonna shrink and shrink and shrink. So as I said before, I did the mistake of putting it onto the wrong side of the fabric because I did not think about the zipper, but I already overlocked now. So I'm going to, work with what I've got now and have to kind of do a weird zipper thingy on the inside, but if you put the waistband onto the correct side, onto the right side, you can do the usual zipper thingy onto the waistband so that it looks nice on the inside, but I'm still going to show you how to do that. So just imagine that this skirt piece right here is the right side of your fabric. And now basically it's time for the zipper. So you want to take your zipper and open it up and put the right side onto the right side of your fabric. Just imagine this is the right side of my fabric. You're gonna find a zipper notch down here, and right here you have the plastic stopper. That is exactly where your fold line of your waistband needs to sit. So you can kind of fold it down like this, and then you know exactly this is where my zipper needs to start. Here's the fold line, that's the zipper. So essentially I need to pin it right here. Make sure the seam allowance of your waistband faces up into the waistband, and now you want to pin it down without stretching either the fabric or the zipper, and just pin it onto your skirt like that. And now you're going to take a zipper foot and sew from notch, exactly where the notch is, all the way up to the fold line right here. So that's going to leave you with a zipper that looks like so. You're gonna mark your waistband with a pin so that you can do exactly the same on the other side, and sew the zipper in completely so that both sides are in the skirt. And now what you want to do is flip it back and fold this out of the way and fold the waistband onto your zipper like that. And since you prepped everything already, your ironed up seam allowance should exactly match up with your stitching line right here. And then you're going to use a one-sided zipper foot and sew along here. Once you turn everything right sides out, you're going to end up with a nice encased zipper like this. Obviously the pins are making it look a little bit wobbly, but yours essentially should look like this. And the fold line of the prepped seam allowance is at exactly the height it needs to be to cover the stitching line of your waist seam. For me, since I did it wrong, I'm going to finish my waistband first. So I'm just gonna fold this down, make sure that the stitching line is covered, and then very closely to my fold line, I'm gonna top stitch the waistband down. So with that now done, I'm gonna add the zipper as well. So I'm just gonna put it right sides together with my skirt. Okay, I'm gonna open my zipper up as well and put it right here also right at the fold line with my plastic stopper, and also essentially the same way as I just showed you for the correct way of putting the zipper in. Pin my zipper onto the skirt. I have my zipper notch marked down here. So let's go ahead and sew the zipper band on. Okay, and now to put the other side in, I already copied the placement for the notch, the zipper notch down here, but I also want to copy the placement of the waistband seam up here. So I'm quickly gonna do that as well. And then also where the fold line up here is gonna be. Okay, and then I can just simply open this back up and then copy the placement to my other side. And also sew this back on. Okay, and that is what it looks like. Quickly just wanted to show you how perfectly the pattern also aligns. There's just 2 centimeters missing basically. And then also everything up here matches up perfectly, so that's really, really nice. I actually added this cute little heart zipper thingy right here. Super, super cute. I'm gonna go ahead and iron this flat so that I can then use bias binding to finish the edges on the inside. I'm just gonna use my sleeve board for that. Okay, and with that done, now press and everything, this moves very slowly. You just need to make sure that this is super flat and isn't in the way of the zipper teeth, so you want to push it outwards, and then you should have no issues with actually zipping up anything. And this is, you know, usually this skirt you wouldn't do it like that, but you can use that tip for anything that uses a zipper at a line that is very thick. So this is, you know, the thing to do here. And now I'm gonna finish this seam with bias binding. I will fold the zipper band down like this, and then everything is out of the way, and I can do bias binding all the way down here towards the hem. I can do that now before the center back is closed, doesn't really matter. So let's do the bias binding. Okay, with that done, this is what it looks like. Also on the inside, looks actually really pretty with the bias binding. We need to finish the center back seam down here. So we're just gonna put the right sides together, match up the hem, and then also, of course, the zipper notch area. I want to be as closely to the zipper notch as I possibly can. And if I can't reach it perfectly, I at least want to be exactly at that line where I stopped with the zipper. That way you're not gonna see the change from zipper to seam at all. So that's what we want to accomplish. And let's sew. And let's also press this open. And you can't really see it, like it's here somewhere, but it's not really visible, so that's really nice. Let's have the seam allowance on the inside lay open, just kind of feeling that it lays openly, because I want to press from the right side, like that. And now let's press. And you can't tell at all. That's really, really nice. And that is what the center back looks like. Even though I made a mistake, it came out really nicely, so I'm super happy with that. And it just goes to show that even if you do mistakes, because like everybody does mistakes, I constantly make mistakes while sewing, you can always salvage it. You don't necessarily have to undo everything, because I know the feeling of defeat if you have to undo seams and realize that you did something wrong and so on and so forth. But you can actually make it work, and it looks so pretty from the inside as well. I'm just gonna add a bar tag down here so that I can easily zip up and down, and then we can do the hem. So for the hem, I want to use synthetic horsehair. That's just gonna give the skirt a teeny tiny bit of more volume. The folds are gonna, you know, just look a teeny tiny bit better, more arranged, I would say. So I'm essentially just gonna put right sides together, or like I'm gonna put this onto the right side and sew at 5 millimeters. So that then I can flip this and have it up here on the inside. And I'm gonna add some decorations at the skirt, maybe some bias binding, maybe some trim, whatever, I don't know yet. I'm gonna look through my stash and fix the upper edge of the horsehair with that. If you don't do that, you just have to add a top stitch, you know, at the distance where the horsehair basically ends to fix it in place. That's dependent on what you were doing with your skirt. Let's go ahead and add the horsehair to the hem of the skirt. With the horsehair now on the hem, you want to fold it up into the skirt so that it has like this really cute rolled hem effect here, and then you want to iron the hem down. Use some steam so that everything sits nicely, and you want to go around the whole piece, so this can take a while. Okay, with that done, I think I'm gonna add some sort of trim around the skirt hem. Maybe that would work. Yeah, I think I'm gonna do that. Maybe two next to each other. A little bit of stripy action down here. I think that'll look cute. And while I'm sewing that on, I'm also fixing the horsehair in place right here. So I'm gonna go around and add pins here and there so that it stays in place. But then I'm just gonna do the top stitching with the bias binding right here. So I'm gonna actually leave it at that. I don't want to add anything else. I think the stripes down here complement the shape of the skirt really, really well. I think the color just is perfect because it is, you know, kind of part, but then also it stands out. It's like a good mix in between. I love how this looks, like the eggplanty color on this mix of colors right here. It just looks really nice. So I'm gonna leave it at that. So that's it for today's video. I hope you enjoyed, and I hope to see so many of your guys' skirts, because this is a very, very easy and fast sew. I mean, depending on how much you want to embellish your skirt, obviously, but basically this took me 2 hours, something like that, and I even did some decorations at the hem. I do recommend adding horsehair though, because it makes a really, really nice shape, and it just looks so much prettier if you have the horsehair in the skirt hem rather than no horsehair. So I suggest you add it to your hem, but obviously you can do whatever you want. The horsehair is optional. As per usual, the pattern will be linked in the description down below. That is the most direct way to support me and keep videos just like this one coming. If you haven't already, please hit subscribe and ring the bell so you'll get notified every time that I post. I am going to make a few other things that you're gonna see me wear in the end of the video. These will come out as tutorials at some point in the future. Those are also small makes. I think, I'm not even sure if I'm gonna include the top, but the underbust corset is a small make, so you're gonna see those tutorials sometime in the future. So don't worry about that, they will come eventually. If you haven't already, please check out my social media. Links to all of that are in the description down below. I'm uploading short format content all around sewing and all around my projects, so if you're interested in tips and tricks, go check that out via the link in my description box down below. Also another link, so many links down there. Everything that I was using today, you know, special tools and stuff like that, that you might want to check out are linked in the description down below. So check that out if you're interested. It also supports me and my channel. A special thank you to my channel members. You can get exclusive benefits through the link in the description down below. So thank you so much for watching, and I'm gonna see you next Sunday. Bye guys!